What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today I'm going to be installing extended rear brake lines for my 2021 Toyota Tacoma. I have a 2-inch lift and I added the Bay Area Metal Fab HD shackles and shackle hanger. So under full droop, my rear brake line is a little snug. So for extra precaution, I'm adding extended brake lines. And this is what I'm going with. Extended brake lines from YotaMafia, and these are about 4 inches longer than factory, so it's going to give me more slack under full droop. And this is the OEM brake fluid I picked up from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. These are the two factory rear brake lines. You can ignore this hose because this hose goes to my breather valve for my diff. I did a DIY video on that. If you haven't seen that yet, check it out. So we're going to focus on the two rear brake lines right here. I just removed my OEM spare tire, so I have more access to get to the nut over here and the nut over there. Here's the YotaMafia rear brake lines in comparison. It's 4 inches longer, and you can tell way more slack. I got my pan to catch the brake fluid. I'm going to use my 10mm flare wrench to open up this nut. Break it loose. I'm going to break this one loose as well. So now all I have to do is unscrew this nut and pull out this metal flat clip, and this side will come down. But I want to break the ones on the top loose first. Break this one loose. The ones up here has a clip as well. So once you loosen the nut for the hard line, it'll create some slack, and then pull out this clip. Alright, the top nut is loose. You see it spinning. I move that up. Now I'm going to loosen the bottom nuts completely. Both nuts are completely loose. Now we're going to have to pull off this clip. There it is. Slid it out. Now this one I can pull out, but I want to remove this clip first on the top. I'm going to remove the rear brake line bracket to see if that gives me a little bit more slack, just really tight to get to that top clip. You see having that bracket move, it's connected to the heart line, so you don't want to pull on it too much, but at least this gives me a little bit more room to get to these little clips. Brake line's completely removed with the bracket, so now I'm going to remove the two clip. I already moved this clip from this line, so I could just pull that line out. I have to remove it from this line. Just pry it out, use pliers as well. Now I'm going to get the YotaMafia brake lines, put it into the bracket. I used the YotaMafia clip, and I had to gently tap it in with a hammer to get really snug. Make sure this is flat with the plate. Now I'm going to install the other brake line. Make sure the brake line is flush to the plate. And I'm going to tap in this clip. The YotaMafia brake lines have been installed on the upper bracket. What's important is this thing is flush to this bracket, flush, and the clips, I had to gently tap it in. So now it's there. So now I can bring this to the top. I bring the bracket up, line up the OEM hard lines, and then gently screw it in. Make sure it screws in nice and smooth. Alright, that's loosely installed for now. Now I'm going to work on the bottom. Slide this in, make sure it's flush. Slide in the nut, make sure it goes in smooth. And install the YotaMafia clip. Make sure it's all flush. Just gently type it in. There it is. Yeah, and I'm going to do this one. Make sure it's nice and flush. The thread goes in smoothly. Everything's been loosely installed. I'm going to tighten the nuts to 8 foot-pounds, which is pretty much nothing. Don't over tighten because you're going to strip it. So 8 foot-pounds. Alright, the nuts have been tightened. This is how it looks. Nice and flush on the back side. See if you can see the clips on the other side. On the top side, loosening the bracket made it a lot easier. So flush on this side, flush on that side, clips are down, and the nuts have been tightened. Now I just have to reinstall the bracket and get ready to bleed the brakes. Now it's time to bleed the brakes. I just have an old water bottle that I cut the top, slip the hose into it. This hose you can pick up from an auto parts store or hardware store. Just tell them you need a hose that fits the brake bleeder nipple. Starting off on the passenger side, here's the brake bleeder nipple. Saw this hose and get my 10mm flare wrench, get that ready. I'm going to add OEM.3 brake fluid to the brake fluid reservoir. And you want to make sure you keep an eye on it so it doesn't go too low. I'm going to just overfill the brake fluid reservoir because we're going to pump out the air. Now with the truck on accessory 2, engine off, I'm going to have my helper pump the brakes 3 times, hold it down. I'm going to open up this valve to let the air out. Then I'm going to close the valve, and then the helper is going to lift their foot off the brake, pump it 3 times, hold it down. I'm going to open up this valve, let the air out, close the valve, and do it again several times before I do the other side. You go ahead, pump it 3 times and hold it down. See air come out the line. Close it. Do it again, up, and then pump it 3 times and hold it down. Okay, up. All right, this side's done. You saw the very first one, a bunch of air come out of the line. Now I'm just gonna snug this up and put the cap back on and do the other side. Now I'm back at the reservoir and I'm gonna add more fluid. Make sure I don't run low. Just gonna top it off. There's the max line. I'm gonna bleed the rear maybe 2 or 3 times. Make sure it doesn't go way too below the minimum line. I want it in between the max and the min. All right, now I'm on the driver's side rear and do the same thing. Helper's gonna pump the brakes 3 times, hold it down. I'm gonna open up this bleeder valve and then I'm gonna close it, and then the helper is gonna move their feet up off the brake pedal. But watch closely how much air comes out of this line. All right, go ahead, pump it 3 times and hold it down. See all the air that just came out? Okay, pump it 3 times and hold it down again. See more air that just came out. Again, one more time. Alright, no more air. Now I'm going to tighten this and put everything back together. Here's the suspension at full droop. The jack stand is underneath the frame of the truck. The jack is not touching the diff whatsoever, so the truck is not supported by the diff rear axle. It's supported by the frame. And look how much slack is on the brake lines now. It's 4 inches longer, so plenty of slack at full droop. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Everything done. Just came back from a test drive. The brake pedal feels firm just like factory. And I inspected all the lines. No leaks, no issues. It's a pretty straightforward install, just a little messy. And these lines are an extra 4 inches longer than factory. So now I don't have to worry about it getting snagged when my suspension goes full droop. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.